folks, SeKo Starcraft here, long game, speeding it up. Actually, speed it up a lot because it's a very, very, very long game. We've got Pryce up here in the top left against Omniscient down here in the bottom left. Top right versus bottom left. TVZ, one of my favorites. Starting to have a lot of fun playing a nice, patient, macro-style game. I'm usually used to going out there and trying to put on pressure and be aggressive and kind of give myself an advantage through just nifty little strategies. But I'm deciding to kind of just ease back, play kind of a more standard game, particularly a standard opening, and use the fact that I think I have pretty good macro and late game control to just be able to do it that way. Sometimes it's hard. Most people don't want to play super, super long games because it just seems like a pain in the butt. Like, I can get in 3 games in the time it takes to play 1. But as long as that game is a lot of fun, which I tend to have with my late game Terran versus Zerg, there's no problem. Actually, if I was to look at my record of like late game, like going to the very late game, I actually think my record is amazing. And I only say that because usually if I lose to people, it's early on or in the mid game where I just get stomped. The only time I lose late game is like Terran versus Protoss, where it's just it's a matter of control and sometimes you get screwed. I'm going to note that Pryce was actually a really good competitor. We're both in Gold League, but this guy had some really good skills. We can see he actually hid those Zerglings and ran around the other side and will snipe a Reaper and delay my command center. And as a Zerg player, if you can do this, you can get so far ahead just with a handful of Zerglings that you generally have to make anyways to hold off the Reapers. So my Reaper has to come home. I lost the investment of 1 Reaper. Command center is delayed. Yeah, I will eventually clean up all these Zerglings. But for a Zerg player, you can't really hope for a better opening than this. Get your queens, your speed, and then just drone up behind this. Perfectly fine. Reaper will clean everything up. Moving into Hellion production. The starport here. Gonna try to go and put on just a simple third base pressure. The great thing about opening up Banshee, it's not just about being able to go and do kills. It's also about keeping you alive. The Roach Bust is such a common thing to have right now. You can see the Roach Warren is going down with the Evo Chamber. Very common opening right now as he moves into his expansion pretty soon. Allows you to get just a handful of roaches to stay alive, or if you smell the opportunity, make, you know, a giant pile of roaches, march them across the map and just wreck face. Units wise, we can see he's got a pretty good lead on the workers. My command center was slightly delayed, but I am getting into that economy. Cloak is on the way. Might have been a bit of a mistake. Sometimes it's nice to just have that Banshee as a matter of controlling space. But you never know when you can get away with coming in with a Cloak Banshee and getting in a ton of damage. Poking a little bit with the Hellions. I see the Roaches and the Roach Warren, so I back off. Widow Mines in production behind this. I really want to incorporate a lot of Widow Mines into my play just because I think they're, with the buff and the damage obviously, they add such a huge like just a chance that you're just going to wreck face with a defense or an attack if you've got some Widow Mines in there. Speed it up a bit more. Banshee's on its way over. Cloak's going to finish up here pretty soon. Should be able to drive this back, and it's denying the impact of this third base right now, but it did get up just fine. Cloak's done. Gonna run after that queen. No biggie. He's already got spore crawlers in positions because he had a really good scout off. I probably could have had a bit better control, sniped a worker or two. But I'm just pulling back because I'm macroing behind this. He got his lair timing down beautifully. Gets 2 overseers out, baneling nest, and his upgrades are on the way. So he's in a really good macro position as a Zerg player. Can't really hope for much more. I do try to pressure the queens down. Having 1 Banshee in there does such huge work against queens. They can use the Hellions to tank the damage. But the Roaches come in, so I'll back off. I don't want to lose those for nothing. Reaper, keeping vision on this side. 16 Zerglings on the way. 3rd command center popping down over there. Evo Chamber, Armory. Evo Chamber, Engineering Bay, Armory. And Widow Mines out front to deal with this. Up to my 3 factory, kind of that standard approach you take. And I like that I'm not panicking into missile turrets. A lot of the time if you open Mech, you just got this thought like, man, he's really going to go right after after those mutas really quickly to deny. A couple of random SCVs got stuck outside because of building the wall. He does have the Overseer in place, and this is really clever. This is where I really like Pryce's play. Because these aren't cheap, right? I mean, this is a lot of Zerglings, but these are throwaway, and I probably could have microed these better. He's actually going to pick up all but 1. Actually, did you get them all? Yeah, I think you got all the Widow Mines for just a handful of Zerglings. I think it was like 16 or 20 Zerglings, and I would say that was worth it. Now he has the Spire going down, Zerglings and banelings at home for defense, and more droning. So we look at the worker supply. He's actually got a pretty good lead, and he's stopping me from getting my third base because of that pressure. Lost all my Widow Mines. Another command center going down though. Did the scan. Great scan timing. See the Spire. Know what's going on, and now I'm into tank and Hellbat production. So I pretty much know where I'm standing. You can see I'm still very low on the workers I need, but going to keep crunching away at that. Zerg player's got a huge bank, so that means he might be able to get just a slathering of Mutas out when he is ready. And he's got a lot of supply opening right now. Shows a lot of polish, even more overlords, because he wants to get just a big pile out all at once. It's going to allow him to just kind of destroy phase. Now this I was pretty salty about. I got these tanks over here, but the tank, see, it doesn't stay in the right spot, so it's going to block my command center. At the same time, very wise, Zerglings coming in here, knows the timing of the third base. So what am I going to do? I'm going to unsiege at the perfectly wrong time, so my command center can go down. Once again, I'm just going to lose 2 free tanks. So I've lost Widow Mines, tanks, I've lost so much stuff for free. So sad. 1-1 is on the way, but he's already on to 2-2. Missile turrets are going down now. As a mech player, I know I'm going to need the big missile turret walls. Widow Mines. This is the other reason I want the Widow Mines in here, is to help protect against the big Muta flock. Where is his Mutas right now? He's actually got a pile here. He's waiting for some more. I think this is a bit of a mistake from Pryce. If he came down right now, he'd be able to shut down this base, snipe a few things, maybe pick off a tank or two. When you have out those Mutas, even a small flock, it's so great to just start heading across the map, getting some damage done. Units-wise, up to about 48 workers. Still need to build some more, though. Now my missile turrets are going down. He's gearing up for a huge attack. Couple of roaches in there, lots of lings. But I do have my Hellions and Planetary in position here. Nothing else, though. Planetaries are good. This one Banshee over here was trying to just delay this hatch a bit, which I see the timing of. But it did delay this attack nicely for just a second. Widow Mine's going to move into position. Lots of missile turrets down. And now that economy is kind of snapping in. I'm starting to build up a ton of money. More Widow Mines in production. And more missile turrets. There are weaknesses in my defense here. But overall, it's pretty tight. And this is where it's up to being cost effective. The Zerg player is banking up a ton of resources. And he's up by a good chunk of supply. Another base moving out this way. I see the Zerglings, so I'm actually just going to get a free shot off. Big Widow Mine hits. Destroy a ton of units there. He lost about 30 or 40 supply in one attack. So great little hole. 2-2 started up right away. Tanks moving over. More missile turrets going down everywhere. I'd put missile turrets even in these places because otherwise the Mutas will hover behind and can't be production. So pretty important for me to get those covered as well. 5 factories need to be rallied a bit better. But moving along. Couple of scans. See the timings of the bases. He's actually moving into a really quick hive. His upgrades, 2-2 is finishing up, so he's still got a good lead. He's doing well. The creep spread is fantastic. One queen out here just continually moving creep tumors on all elements of the base. Pryce, actually, I think, was one of the better Zerg players I've played in a long time. Starting to build up my wall. Lots of supply depots going down, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm not even sure where I'm scanning right now. Hellbats. I don't think they have blue flame yet. Widow Mines in position. So pretty good defense. And this is me not panicking, right? Like, I'm not in a position where I'm like, oh, I gotta pull all my units and go and attack. And you see I've got a bit of a misrally going on here. It's more important that I just patiently take my bases, take my economy, get the right unit mix out, some Thors, upgrades, and you can deal with just about anything the Zerg player throws at you if you're patient, you have the right unit comp. Finishing up my wall here. Planetary still in position. You say, oh, that's so newbie, I should get the Planetary. But I was pretty far behind this game, and as you'll see, this is a pretty important attack point for my opponent. Adrenal Gland started right away at the Ultralisk Cavern, so he times up all of his production with his hive very well. I even do like a little smattering of defenses on some of these bases, just to deal with drops and run-bys. Very, very important to do that. Tanks in position over here, Widow Mines, Thors, Hellbats. So pretty difficult position to crack cost effectively. He's trying to trigger the Widow Mines, but the tanks obviously are going to be able to deny those before they get close enough. Thor was going to take some pot shots, but he's just going to back off. Sneaking down this planetary while he's putting his pressure on one side. And now I'm finally getting into my starports. This is the important late game Terran composition. If I can get to my starports, I know I'm super comfortable. And you can deal with just about anything if you can get out enough Ravens and Vikings. Great positioning on everything here. Units wise though, 55 workers, not great. Could probably use another maybe 10. Just at this stage of the game, throw them away later when you finally get your command centers out. You can see I don't quite have the minerals to be spamming the command centers. 3-3 should be started pretty soon. Here my 2-2 finished. Right now I'm having a bit of a mineral crisis. I have gas at all my bases because gas is very important. But it's letting me make 3 Ravens at a time. Ravens, very minerals cost effective. 100, 200. So if you got the gas, it's like making high Templars as a Protoss. Just gives you that great opportunity. Pryce is maxed out. He's almost got maxed upgrades. Lots of Zerglings and banelings. All the melee upgrades are done. Huge ring over here of missile turrets. Very important for me because I don't want him to break through and then I have to try to squeeze back home. This army is way too immobile until I get my air army out. And this is why I see that I misrallied some of my buildings. So now I'll re-rally them, bring all my units to the front. I'm doing pretty good. Nice scan, I see what's going on, I see the creep movement. And there's just not much you can do about this, you just have to suck it up. I leave one piece of the wall down on purpose to let things funnel through slowly. Might have been a bit of a mistake though. He's going to get right on top of everything. Look, it loses all of his banelings almost instantly. Planetary in the back, doing whatever work he can. Problem is that Thor is targeting. Trying to repair the planetary, but the roaches, these early game roaches, still alive, came in here and finished that off, otherwise I might have been able to hold it. So he does crush this base, random planetary at the front, tanks, Thors. So he does prohibitive damage, he threw away like 60 supply worth of units. But I do have this base down over here, very well defended. So I'm really in a good spot. If I had lost this base and I didn't have that fourth, probably be a lot saltier. But I'm doing okay. So I can still make my Ravens because of my bank in gas. For him now, after you throw away all that stuff, you got to think that maybe now I've really got to work on crushing. Like I've hurt the Terran, now I've got to get in there and finish it off. But he's having trouble remaxing, and maybe it's larva. Let's look at units wise. Well, he's got 36 larva, so there's his remax on the ultras. I'm saying, what is he waiting for? But he spends a ton of money, ton of gas on the ultras. Very important as a Zerg player, if you get to this late game state, take all of your bases and take your gas immediately. And if you're really clever, what I thought Pryce was going to do is take this base. Because there's not much I can do about it right away. And if you take this base as a Zerg player, it like kind of adds a bit of panic to the Terran. Like, man, I've got to go and take this before he mines it out. And then you can sometimes pull the Terran out of position. So you see right now I'm kind of struggling to get my supply back up again because of my minerals. Bit of idle workers here I'm going to have to take care of. But I've got this base, not going to be cracked. Not worried about taking my gas right away over there because I got lots of gas. Now the Ravens are in play. Lots of Ravens. Widow mines out at the front. Getting a little bit out of position here. Nice snipes with the Mutas. We'll grab one of those guys. Point defense drone goes down. But unfortunately for him, he's chasing a little bit too far. Mana loves me some Widow mines. Still making them too. 3-3. Finishing up here pretty quick. More command centers in position. Looks like he's going to go for another bust. Now I don't have anything over here to defend. This is where all my units are right now, where the rally is. Because I want to clean out this creep. But he's going to come in and bust on this side. Great Widow mine shots. 13 kills on that Widow mine. I think that one had 25 on it actually for a second there. We'll kill these command centers. And I actually, silly enough, let this one finish and then it'll just get immediately sniped. And sometimes as a player you think that, man, I just killed all of his command centers. He's totally got to be leaving now. Like he's got no economy. Look at all this damage I did. But still got this base over here trucking. And I didn't lose much of my army in that fight. And you see the supplies are pretty even. Like I lost the command centers, yes. But I didn't really lose units. 3 tanks, 4 Hellbats, 2 Ravens at a time. I mean, that's pretty good. I like how this one random Overseer is right here and I can't do anything about it. So more missile turrets. That tells me that I've got a big weakness in my game. Now he's going to try to remax again. More banelings. But he threw away a lot of overlords as overseers in that. He's going to have to remake some of those. Double planetary tank widow mines with missile turrets. You know you're pretty safe when. And I'm starting to build up a really, really crazy amount of ravens here. I'm going to move out with these hellbats, push back some of this creep. I know that the next base I'm taking is over here. Very important. And he does now finally decide to go check out this base. He didn't know about it for the longest time. Pull the SCVs. We'll keep that alive. Actually killed a lot of stuff in that. Keeps the ultras alive. Greater Spire on the way. More ultras. Bunch of overlords. Finally recognizes that he's supply blocked. And then I've got now another command center. I believe I'm building a few command centers right now. Yeah, I'm at that point where I've got some minerals. Still move those there's the idle workers I'm moving. Upgrades in a great spot. Should get Terran building armor. I forget about that sometimes, but increasing armor by 2 is pretty nice if you're dealing with, say, Zerglings, for instance. Like, it'll really cut down the amount of damage they can do. Push back to creep pretty good on this side. We'll throw down another command center. And it's at this point as a Zerg player, you start feeling kind of weird. Like, what should I do? And if you still got the map control and the Terran's still rebuilding, what I would probably do is this is when I would invest in swarmhosts. And get my creep spread really good on this side and start sieging up from different angles. Siege down here, siege over here, swing around, siege over here. Just do what you can to be as cost effective as possible. Use the locusts to be able to be just a pain in the butt. Cancels the command center, moving more creep. Very wise. Ravens are out, lots of energy. Snipe those creep tumors. Widow Mine still in position. And still building lots and lots of ravens behind us. Putting these out as a bit of a buffer. They give me a bit of vision. They take a bit more to kill. This is where you want that building armor once again. I'll help get those guys lasting a bit longer. Widow Mine's in a position. So I'm feeling great. Like, I'm at that point where I'm finally getting that late game army out. Still building Widow Mines. We see that they're still super effective, and just lots of Ravens. Ravens will beat anything as a Terran player against Zerg. Like, they will fight broodlords. They will fight swarmhosts. They don't do necessarily great against ultras, but you can build a wall of, auto turrets and things like that. Ravens are what you want as your late game comp. Just throwing away energy as opposed to actual units. Tanks are in a great position back here behind this big command center that obviously is tough to break. Starting to get out corruptors, I see that, which likely for me means he's going to go into some greater spire action. I don't scout the greater spire, but the corruptors are only out if you're going into broodlords. I mean, they're not good enough against ravens to really deal with that. Accidentally throws the broodlords into a few units. Out go the seeker missiles. Right behind us, once again, lots of widow mines, lots of missile turrets. Throws away all of his corruptors and most of his mutas. And now his army's pretty naked out here. More missile turrets. Some missile turrets, seeker missiles. Auto turrets in position. Deny all that. So he will come over here and try to bum rush this command center. And I'll just lift it up. Not a big deal. Tanks in a great position here in the back. Nicely protected. The locusts are getting on top of the tanks. Bit of a bugger. Huge hit with the seeker missile. But I lost like one tank in that entire attack. That was it. Look at resources lost to this point. 30,000 to 12,000. So super, super cost effective fights for me. And I know that as long as I'm taking my bases slowly, and if he doesn't take my base, you've got to just play to mine, get your opponent mined out of the map. It's really all you can do. You're not going to be able to push across with your army. You'll get caught out of position, or they'll base trade. So you just got to be patient and realize that, yeah, this is happening. Base is taken. Planetary is going down. See the queen over there moving some creep. Tank's going to re-siege, get into a better position. Clean up that creep once again. And this is where it gets really weird as a Zerg player. Like, what do you do? And is what goes through a lot of people's minds. Tons of corruptors out. That's so many corruptors. He has got 29 corruptors right now is his thought on this. Tanks in position. Seeker missiles. He now has 11 corruptors. I do have Vikings in this army. I forgot that I made some Vikings. More Widowmine shots. He's now down to 9 Corruptors. And then one random Broodlord over here. Gets himself a kill. These. 2 kills. And then he gets sniped down. I forgot they had the Vikings. Now I remember I have Vikings, so I don't have to keep using those. So Vikings, Ravens, and Hellbats to use the minerals on. Another base down, I'm going to take the gas. I finally ate up all of my gas. So I'm finally taking those pieces. Good spot. Good position right now. Going into his Enduring Locusts, now it's time for him to try to be more cost effective. He's blowing through a lot of his bank. And he's starting to take a lot of his bases. Like, this one's mined out. Pretty much mined out. Mined out. Starting to get mined out. And this one won't last super long. For me, just actually got some more idle workers. Bugger. Still got some middle patches here. Close to mined out. Close to mined out. Still going. Brand new base. So I'm sitting in a really good spot. And that's how I think about this. I think of it like economy. Do I have a long-term economy in position here? I actually still don't have Blue Flame. Bit of a mistake for me. Realize that I'm actually getting surrounded here. So I'll actually lose 2 tanks. Clean up a lot of Zerglings though. Because I'm going to slow push out towards this base now. Great siege up spot if you can get out here. Want to be patient. If I throw away units right now, it's pretty bad. Lots of minerals, but it's the gas that's starving me a lot. So I need to move some people into gas here pretty soon. Widowmine's over here in case he decides to go for a Mutalisk switch. Sometimes you get Zerg players, they'll make like 40 Mutas as their switch. It's not necessarily recommended. But now that he's got the swarmhosts in place, it's time to back to me making tanks. 7 more swarmhosts on the way, and I'm making more tanks now to defend that. Raven's a little bit out of position, got to get down those point defense drones and move some tanks over that way. Lots of extra units I can start shifting over. Because I spent so much of my gas on Ravens and air, I actually need to get back into tank production because that's what you really need as a Terran player to fight the big locust blocks. Happily for me, he has not upgraded any of his ranged attack yet. It's just now started. It means it's going to give me a little bit of time to try and get into position. This one tank's got a bit of a death wish. Good thing for point defense drones. Widowmines obviously aren't great against locusts, but in this case they're actually buying me some time. Great positioning, just a staggering of units. Once again, more tanks. But I'm maxed now, so it's kind of hard to think about what you can do. Units wise, still have 54 workers to 70. Finally starting to get more tanks into position over here. Broodlord's out here once again. If you're going air as a Zerg player against some like a late game meching Terran, so tough. Like the Ravens will beat everything. I can come here with my Ravens right now, point defense drone up, all these pieces, and then just destroy with all the seeker missiles. So you've got to be very careful. Keep all of your. He's not using any hotkeys either. That's why it's important to have all of your, say, your Ravens, your swarm hosts on one hotkey. That way you know, for instance, you're not going to end up getting caught by a bunch of seeker missiles. It's pretty hard to panic, click, and move everything. I want to snipe out these units, so I'm just kind of poking in, taking some pot shots. We can see the bank right now is pretty much switched positions. He's really running dry right at this moment. Vikings just on hold position. Ravens getting into position. A couple of PDDs go down. It's time to start throwing out the seeker missiles. So beautiful. And just energy. More swarm hosts on the way now. But all my tanks are in position. Lots and lots of tanks over here. Perfectly upgraded. And now I've got my gold base kicking in, giving me lots and lots of income. It's at this point that I really should be making more command centers, but I actually ran out a lot of real estate. Handful of locusts over here. I did see the swarm host in position, so I'm just going to run in with some hellbats. Managed to get one last bit of locusts. I'm going to go over here, clean up some creep. Very important to keep that creep spread in check. Makes the locusts so much more difficult. Still making more corruptors. But he's not really getting very close. I think he took out those widow mines had out front because of the splashdown from the tanks. Already have missile turrets in position. Shot down almost all of his corruptors. He's actually just throwing these ones away. That's a problem about not having hotkeys. Finally does have his swarmhost hotkey there, so he can back them off if he needs to. Base pretty much untouched. He's not breaking this gold base anytime soon. 14 more corruptors in position. I do scout that he's moving his locusts and his swarmhosts into a different position here. So I'm going to lose these hellbats, but it does give me awareness of where the army is. Yeah, there's my command centers going down. Tons of money to use. I actually need a lot of scans. I made these realizing I don't have scans. Throwing down missile turrets once again. Sometimes the late game Muta switch just pisses you off. So he will take out this base, or at least, you know, get it destroyed. I'm not even worried about it. I'm just going to save the workers. Nothing in position to keep these guys alive. Oh, I thought the auto turret might get him. Nice movement with the corruptors here. He does catch me out of position finally. I spent all my energy, so I don't have any PDDs left. Oh, that actually got off. Awesome. Unfortunately, his air army is pretty unupgraded as well. Just 1-1 right now. I think +2 armor's on the way. Remaxing on more swarm hosts. And it's hard for me to say what the right call is. Like, those swarm hosts weren't working, but I don't know what his real choice would be in this situation. I haven't played against the Terran in this position too much as a Zerg. It's usually been a Terran against a Zerg, not a Zerg against a Terran. Tanks still in great position over here. Lots of kills. Forcing back the spore crawlers. At least he's got that part down. I mean, you want to be able to get those static defenses in place so he just can't reign supreme over the air. More Ravens behind this. More starports as well. Building up more starports. Lots of orbitals going down. A couple of planetary fortresses over here as well. One of the few ways he can sneak into my base. Just about every angle now is covered by planetaries. I say, why not? Some tanks, widow mines over here. Sometimes Zergling run-bys are really nice. A lot of people have been doing that in the pro leagues. You take some Zerglings and you run them into the tanks because the PDDs obviously don't stop that. Big scout. See all this coming down. PDDs. And the planetaries will hold in front. Loses all the corruptors. Nice as well played. And I actually think Pryce, as was said, one of the better Zerg players I've gone up against in this situation. Let's just, I want to see what the lost is at this. That's so sick. 63,000 lost for the Zerg, 20,000 for the Terran. So cost effective, and I don't think I actually pushed across the midway point of the map until, except for the very beginning with some of those Hellions. Just how you play Terran Mech late game. SeKo Starcraft, thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk with you later.